Good morning, friends. Today we are going to start the MCQs on the environment and ecology. So, in these aspects, as we studied and we divided our subject into three modules, that is the environmental ecology, the biodiversity, and the climate change. So, in these aspects, we have done with the module one, that is environmental ecology. So, in the topic, I am going to see what are the previous questions that have been asked by the UPSC. So what is the way of asking question by the UPSC? All those aspects that are going to discuss with each and every question, guys. So on this aspect, today I am came before you with the 2011 and 2012 questions, guys. Okay, miss that is the module number one, that is environmental ecology. So in this topic, we are going to see questions from 2011 and 2012. So let us start our discussion with the question number one. The the question number one is, when the bark of a tree is removed in a circular fashion all around near its base, it generally dries up and dies because. So guys, what does the bark of a tree mean? So the bark of a tree means it is the outer part of the tree, guys. Okay, it is the outer part of the tree is removed in a circular fashion, guys. So if it is removed in a circular fashion all around near its base, means at the approximately near the soil, it generally dries up and dies up because. So if you see the options, the first option is the water from soil cannot rise to aerial parts. Guys, if we want to have connection, we should have connection to each and every part of our body with the soil, guys. So if you remove the some connection around the in circular path, so at the base, then there is a scope of losing the connection with the tree and with the soil, guys. So the correct answer for this is the option number Y, guys. Option number one, because if we are doing the part in a circular fashion, means it is simply the removing the some part of the body from the tree. Okay, guys. Then it then the water from the soil can't rise to the aerial parts, and along with that we will see why the other statements are wrong. Roots are starved of energy, guys. So this statement is not correct, guys. Okay, and option C, tree is infected by soil microbes. No, guys. No, no. So soil microbes help the trees in the development. And the fourth option, roots do not receive oxygen for respiration, guys. So this is also the not correct statement, guys. So the first and the foremost option is correct one. So let us see answer, guys. Yes, the first option is the correct answer. The water from soil cannot rise to aerial pods. Okay, guys. So these are the type of questions UPSC asks, especially concept-oriented questions. You should know the uh, terminology of each and every word in the question along within the options, guys. Let us move to the second question. So the second question is, if a tropical rainforest is removed, okay, guys, so you should know what tropical rainforest is removed. It does not regenerate quickly as compared to a tropical deciduous forest. This is because, guys, we have different type of forest. Okay, I explained in many classes, guys. Okay, so if we remove the tropical rainforest, it is very difficult to again regenerate, whereas it is for deciduous forest it is easy. So we should find out the reason for that happening like that, guys. Okay, guys, we should know that tropical rainforest is the one which are present the mostly at the tropical regions. Okay, the tropical deciduous forest are which are present at the above the tropical regions. Okay, so what happens in the tropical regions, guys? Tropical regions will be having the ample of rainfall, guys, because they're having the sunlight, plenty of sunlight. For that, it helps us in the rainfall, guys. So the rainfall, what does the rainfall do? The rainfall will remove the uppermost part of the soil. The uppermost part of the soil contains nutrients. So the rainfall will leach away the uppermost part of the soil, and the nutrients will be washed away. Okay, guys, this about this we have discussed in our subject, guys. Okay, so if you see the options, the soil of the rain is deficient in nutrients, guys. Yes, the tropical rainforest is deficient in the nutrients because the tropical rainforest are the one which will having the good amount of rainfall. So if we have a good amount of rainfall, if you people observe, guys, the region of that area will be washed away. Okay, it means they are washing away the nutrients present over that place. So if you want to grow again and again, for every organism should have the nutrients. So without nutrients it is very difficult to grow. So the first option will be optics. So let us see the second, third and fourth options also. The second option is propagules of the trees in a rainforest have poor viability. So this is not this correct statement, guys. So the propagules of the trees, the propagules of the trees in a rainforest have poor viability. So these are not having the poor viability. So this statement is not correct. The rainforest species are slow growing. So nowhere it is mentioned that it is slow growing or the fast growing. Exotic species invade the fertile soil of the rainforest. It means it doesn't mean that the exotic species and invade the fertile soil of the rainforest, gets. The appropriate answer, the correct answer for the given question is the first option, guys. So let us see. Yes, the soil of the rain is deficient in nutrients, guys. Okay, this, guys, this type of questions will like by UPSC, guys. Okay, so let us move to the question number 3. So if you see the question number 3, the Himalayan range is very rich in species diversity. Which of the following is the most appropriate reason for this phenomenon? Guys, this question is from the biodiversity that, but I have taken in this part only, environmental ecology. So let us see. The Himalayan region is very rich in species diversity, guys. So species diversity means there are plants, animals, or anything, guys. The and which of the following is the most appropriate reason for this phenomenon? So now we need to find out what is the reason for having the species rich in the biodiversity in the Himalayan regions. The first statement, if you see, it has a high rainfall that supports luxuriant vegetative growth. Means the first statement speaks about the rainfall. Speaks about the rainfall. Okay, guys, actually the rainfall is not much about the Himalayan regions. They are having the snowfall, guys. They are having the much snowfall, not the rainfall, guys. Okay, it is the confluence of different biogeographical zones. Exactly, guys. So the place is the confluence of different biogeographical zones because that place is suitable for many biogeographical zones, guys. Like if you see the Himalayan ranges, there we are having the upper post as a snow and the lower post we have the plains, and the entire different part of biogeographical zones have been covered, guys. So about this topic that I have dealt in our regular class today, guys. Okay, today I have dealt about this topic, guys. Okay, so it is the confluence of different biogeographical zones. Okay, and if it's a third option, exotic and invasive species have not been introduced in this reason, guys. So that is not the reason for the species diversity, and it has less human interference. There is nothing like that, guys. Okay, the appropriate answer is it is the confluence of different biogeographical zones. Okay, guys. So we have 10 biogeographical zones, guys, but the Himalayan is the one which is having the confluence of different biogeographical zones. Like we have alpine meadows. Okay, guys, the Himalayas, Trans Himalayas. Okay, and we have plains. So different biogeographical zones we are having. If you see the answer, that is B, guys. Okay, now let us move to the question number 4. So if you see the question number 4, there is a concern over the increase in harmful algal blooms in the sea waters of India. What could be the causative factors for this phenomena, guys? About the harmful algal blooms, I have taken a special session, guys. Okay, please go through that class if you are unable to get right now, guys. Okay, guys, we know algal blooms. Algal blooms are the simple increase in the green plants in the water gates is called as algal blooms. If those are going to harmful the water, it is a harmful algal blooms. Generally the generally the algal blooms are good, guys. Okay, but few algal blooms are harmful to the conditions. Okay guys, simply the increase in the green plants, the increase in the green plants in the seawater which make a harmful the that seawater is called as a harmful algal blooms. So we should find out the what are the reasons for this phenomena guys. Okay, discharge of nutrients from the estuaries guys. Okay, so discharge of nutrients from the estuaries. So in this question if we feel the estuaries will be having the good amount of nutrients guys. So what happens, the nutrients from the estuaries will come to this seawater, and the seawater will be having good amount of nutrient. Then guys, if we are having the nutrients, what will happen guys, it makes us suitable for the algal growth. It makes us suitable for the algal growth, means the statement one is right. And the second statement if you see, the runoff from the land during the monsoon guys, if we have the monsoon, that is we have good amount of rainfall guys. So what happens, the rainfall will bring the nutrients from the surroundings of the seawater and will discharge in the seawater guys. So this will bring the nutrients and make the seawater to increase the algal blooms. Okay, so indirectly they are also increasing the harmful algal blooms. Okay, the third one is upwelling in the sea guys. So upwelling in the seas, what happens, guys, upwelling means what? It means the ground, so the ground level sea, so this sea, that is the benthos guys. If you see the benthos part in the sea, those are coming to the surface of the sea guys. So what happens if in the upwelling in the seas happens, means the nutrients present in the ground of the sea will come to the surface, which makes us better for the increase in the algal blooms. Okay guys, so these three are the three reasons for the causative factors for the given phenomenon, that is the increase in the harmful algal blooms in the seawater guys. These are the type of questions UPSC likes. So let us see the answer guys. So answer is 1 2 3. Okay, let us move to the question number 5 guys. So question number 5, the 2004 tsunami made people realize that mangroves can serve a reliable safety hedge against coastal calamities. How do mangroves function as the safety hedge guys? This topic, that is about the mangroves, I clearly explained, that is in the uh, topic, that is the ecosystem guys, that is in the marine ecosystem. I took each and session differently guys, that is about the corals, mangroves, estuaries, wetlands. Okay, separate session I have taken guys. So and in the mangroves part also I have taken the special subtopic, that is the functions of the mangroves guys. Mangroves are very very useful guys. Mangroves are very very useful for many purposes guys. So here in the question if we discuss, the mangroves during tsunamis are going to help the people of the coastal calamities regions guys. What happens at the coastal calamities guys? At the coastal calamities, the water from the sea will enter into the mainland and affecting the survival of the people guys. Okay, but in this, if they are not having any destructive material present in between, then the water will enter into the land speedily and will affect the habitat of the people guys. But the mangroves present over that coastal area will make the water from the seawater reduce guys. Okay guys. Okay, so the whatever the water that comes from the seawater during any natural calamity like in the form of flood, the mangroves will reduce the speed of the water guys. So why? Because the mangroves are the large root guys. They are having the strong roots and the roots are up guys. Okay, the roots are present above the surface guys. Okay, so this makes as the safety hedge during coastal calamities guys. So let us see the options. The mangrove swamps separate the human settlement from the sea by a wide zone in which people neither live nor venture out. No guys. Okay, the mangroves provide both food and medicine which people are in need of after any natural disaster. No guys, this is not the statement which is true. Okay, so maybe it may provide, but it is not during that natural disaster, guys. The mangrove trees are tall with a dense with a dense canopies and serve as an excellent shelter during a cyclone or tsunami. No, guys, no. Okay, if you see fourth statement, the mangrove trees do not get uprooted by storms. Exactly, guys. Why? Because the roots of the mangroves are very hard and they are deeply rooted in the soil, and they are deeply rooted in the soil and tides. So the mangroves do not get uprooted by storms and tides because of their extensive root. Exactly. So they have such a big and great roots, guys. Okay, so this is the correct answer for this statement. Let us see the answer. Okay, guys, this is the exact answer for the given statements, guys. Simply they have framed the question that 2004 tsunami like that. Okay, just you should know the concept what is mangroves, then only you can attempt this question, otherwise it will make you very difficult to attempt, guys. Okay, and let's move to this next question, guys. So sixth question, in the context of ecosystem productivity, guys, I explained what is productivity. The marine upwelling zones are important as they increase the marine productivity by bringing the, guys. So what do you mean by productivity, guys? Productivity means production per unit, production per unit volume, production per unit mass, production per unit area, production per month, production for 10 labors, means anything as a quantity, guys. It is called as productivity. So in the context of ecosystem productivity, the marine upwelling zones, what do you mean by marine upwelling zones? Means the upwelling zones is nothing but the bottom water, that is the, so that is the water present in the bottom, those are coming to the surface of the surface of the sea water, guys, on the surface of the water. It is called as upwelling zones. Upwelling zones, the marine upwelling zones are important as they increase the marine productivity by bringing the, so what the marine productivity will bring, guys? So the marine productivity will bring the decomposers microorganisms to the surface. Guys, this is not the correct. The marine upwelling zones will not bring the decomposer microorganisms to the surface, guys. Okay, these are the tough material. Decomposers microorganisms are the hard, guys. That is, they are having the weight, and these can't be bring to the upper surface. If you see second statement, nutrients to the surface, exactly, guys. The marine upwelling zones will bring are important because it increases the marine productivity by bringing the nutrients to the soil. Okay, guys, this will bring nutrients to the surface of the marine, guys. So from the ground, from the bottom of the marine, they are coming to the surface by bringing the nutrients, and the nutrients are going to help for the ecosystem productivity, guys. Okay, the bottom dwelling organisms to the surface, no, guys, the organisms can't bring to the surface bottom dwelling organisms to the surface. No, this is not the correct answer, guys. It will bring nutrients to the surface, and the nutrients are going to help the ecosystem in productivity, guys. So if you see the option, the correct answer for the statement is B, guys. Okay, exactly. Okay, and let us see the question number 7, guys. A sandy and saline area is the natural habitat of an Indian animal species. Guys, these are the type of questions which UPSC ask very important as commonly, guys. Commonly, they will give the brief description and they will ask about what is that. Not only here, guys, and they will give this few characteristics of the forest, and they will ask you to identify the type of forest. If you see the question, a sandy and saline area is the natural habitat of an Indian animal species. Guys, sandy and saline means you should know where it is desert, guys. Okay, the animal has no predators in that area, guys. The animal has no predators means no, there is no animal which is going to eat this animal. Okay, there is no predators in that area, but its existence is threatened due to the destruction of his habitat, guys. But its habitat is going to destruct, guys. So which of the following could be that animal, guys? Okay, if you see Indian wild buffalo, guys, Indian wild buffalo, that we can say not only in the sandy and saline, guys, we can say anywhere, guys. And second statement, if we say Indian wild ass. Okay, so this is exactly correct answer, guys. If you see Indian wild ass, a sandy and saline area is the natural habitat of Indian animal species, guys. Okay, the animal has no predators in that area, but its existence is threatened to the destruction of its habitat. Exactly. So the correct statement for the answer is Indian wild ass. Okay, so accordingly we should find out the which is the correct answer, guys. The correct answer for the statement is B. Let us see exactly. Okay, so let us move to the eighth question, guys. So if you see eighth question, among the following states, which of the most suitable climatic conditions for the cultivation of a large variety of orchards with the minimum cost of production, guys, and can develop an export oriented industry in this field, guys. Guys, the question is speaking about the orchards. So orchards means are the one which are mostly present at the top, that is the northernmost part of the India, guys. Orchards means that you can say simple like small cultivation of the pasture lands that is like we can say that is fruits orchards, okay, like that. So we can see this orchards cultivation the mostly at the northern part of India. So if you see the northern part of the India that we are having in the statement, that is Arunachal Pradesh, guys. So they have required the good amount of rainfall, guys. Okay, the suitable conditions for the cultivation of large variety of orchards with minimum cost of production and can develop a export industry in this field. Okay, so the climatic conditions which will suitable for the orchard cultivation is the Arunachal Pradesh. So let us see the answer is Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, nice. And if you see question number 9, guys, these are the type of questions UPS asks, guys. A particular state is having the following characteristics, guys. It is located on the same latitude which passes through northern Rajasthan, guys. Through northern Rajasthan, guys. Okay, okay, see, guys. It has over 80% of its area under forest cover, guys. Guys, Indian state of forest report I have covered, guys. Indian state of forest report 2019 I have covered. So if you have seen that topic, you can answer this question, guys. The over 12% of forest cover constitutes protected area networks in this state, guys. About protected area networks I am going to discuss in the biodiversity chapter, guys. Okay, so guys, it explains that same latitude with that of northern Rajasthan, guys. Okay, so you should know the latitudes of the one which will travel through Rajasthan, guys. Okay, so even if you are not unable to answer that one, it has over 80% of area under forest cover, guys. Guys, in the topic that I have clearly explained, that is Indian state of forest report, 80% means this one which will be present at the top 5, guys. Top 5. If you see the states having the maximum forest cover, okay, guys, we have the Madhya Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, and the Chhattisgarh. MAC. What is MAC? The state having the largest forest cover. We have MAC. Madhya Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh. Okay, guys. So in the same topic that I explained, that is states having increase in the forest cover. So increase in the forest cover compared to the previous, we are having CAC, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and the Kerala, guys. Okay, so if you see, it has over 80% of its area under forest cover. So as I said, we are having the map, the Madhya Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, and the Chhattisgarh. So with that, we can simply can answer this question, guys. That is Arunachal Pradesh, guys. Okay, it is located on the same latitude which passes through the northern Rajasthan. Exactly, guys. Okay, so let us see the answer. Arunachal Pradesh. Okay. Now let us move to the question number 10, guys. So consider the following statement. So if you see the question, guys, biodiversity is normally greater in the lower latitude as compared to the higher latitudes, guys. Exactly, guys. Exactly, because the biodiversity is normally greater in the lower latitudes as compared to higher latitudes, because the lower latitudes, that is the equator, having the good amount of sunlight, which makes to have the good amount of rainfall, which will help in having the plants, that is the increase in the vegetation, which helps in having the good amount of biodiversity, that is plants and animal diversity. That's why in the lower latitudes we are having the good amount of biodiversity. The second statement, if you say along the mountain gradients, biodiversity is normally greater in the lower altitude as compared to the higher altitude, guys. If you see, the first one speaks about the latitude, and the second one is about the altitude. Altitude is nothing but a height, guys. Altitude is nothing but the height. So in the second statement, the biodiversity, if you compare at the mountains, in the mountains, that is the foot of the mountains is having the more biodiversity than at the top of the mountains, guys. So this is about that explanation. So biodiversity is normally greater in the lower altitude, that is at the lower place, that is at the foot of the mountains, as compared to the higher altitudes, because the higher altitude is mostly covered with the snow particles, guys, mostly with this snow particles. That's why the biodiversity is not good enough for the survival of that place. Generally at the foods we are having good amount of biodiversity, because they are having the rich in the its habitat, and the climatic conditions are suitable for its growth, guys. Okay, so the correct answer for the statement is, for the question is, statement 1 and 2 are the correct. The answer is C. Let us see exactly, guys. Okay, and let us move to the question number 10. So the question number 10, sorry, question number 11, if you see, what would happen if phytoplankton of ocean is completely destroyed for some regions? Guys, phytoplankton means green plants in the ocean. The plankton means small green plants is called as plankton. Sorry, small microorganisms is called as the plankton. So plankton have been classified into two parts, that is phytoplankton and the zooplankton. So phytoplankton is the green plants, small microscopic green plants, and the zooplankton is the small microorganisms of the animal type. Okay, if phytoplankton, that is the green plants of an ocean, is completely destroyed for some reason, then we should know what will happen, guys. Okay, the ocean as the carbon sink would be adversely affected, guys. Exactly, guys, we, if you see the carbon sink, that is the natural carbon sink. Carbon sink means what, guys? The carbon present in the atmosphere are attracted or absorbed by the some sink. Okay, guys, we should know what is source and sink. Source is the place which is going to get, or sorry, which is going to obtain the, that is the destination, guys. Okay, so we have the land, the trees present on the land, okay, and the oceans. So oceans are also carbon sink, guys. So if we are not having the phytoplanktons, they are not going to sink the carbon, that is the carbon sink would be adversely affected. Okay, the ocean as the carbon sink would be adversely affected, guys. Exactly, so that statement proves the second statement, the food chain in the ocean would be as adversely affected. Exactly, guys, the phytoplanktons are the primary producers in the water, in the marine ecosystem. So if there is not having the primary producers, so from where the primary consumers will get the food? Okay, guys, so the primary consumers can't get the food, so this makes the food chain gets adversely affected, and the density of the ocean water would drastically decrease. Okay, guys, so the density of the ocean water would drastically decrease. No, guys, it drastically increase. Why? Because if the phytoplanktons died, and it has the more amount of the waste present in the ocean, guys. So it makes the ocean water with more of the plankton, and the density will be increased. So the thought statement is wrong. So the 1 and 2 is the correct statement. So the correct answer is A. Okay, so let us see, guys. Exactly. Okay, so let us do the 12th question. So consider the following kinds of organisms, guys. Which of the following is or pollinating agents or agents, guys? So pollinating means, guys, we know that the female and the male. So when the both will meet, then only we can produce the offspring. Okay. So among the following, which of the following kinds of organisms will be pollinating agents? So guys, the given the three are the pollinating organisms, that is the bat, that is bee, and the bird. So these make the pollinating organs from one plant to the other and make the pollination, guys. So if you see the answer, the correct answer is 1 2 3. Exactly, guys. So the last question for today's topic is, guys, 13th question. With reference to the wetlands of India, consider the following statements. Guys, about the wetlands I have done topic, guys. The country's total geographical area and the category of wetland is recorded more in the Gujarat as compared to the other states. Exactly, guys. So if you see the states which are having more in the wetlands, the Gujarat and the Maharashtra, guys. Gujarat and the Maharashtra are having good amount of the the wetlands, guys. So the first statement is correct. In India, the total geographical area of the coastal wetland is larger than that of inland wetland. So this is wrong statement, guys. The inland wetland are having the more in the wetlands than the coastal, guys. So the correct answer for the statement is only one. So let us see, guys. Guys, with this we have completed this topic, guys. So I think I have clearly explained these questions. That is, today we have done with 2011 and 2012 questions, guys. Okay, thank you, one and all.